How can we have peace in the Middle East when there's none at home? How can we have understanding in the land when there's none in the woman? Oh no, none in a man. Oh my. How can we heal the wounds of the world before we heal our own? And where does this peace on earth begin, if not in the heart and dome? Welcome, family. I am here to give you the skinny, to give you intelligent briefs. You know, they say there's an often proverb, if you will, and it says, feed a man some fish for a day and he'll eat for a day. But then it says, teach a man how to fish and he can find his waterfronts and feed himself for a lifetime. Question is, therefore, what is it worth to be taught how to do something like fishing? And I want you to ask yourself, if you just do me a quick favor, just pen and pad or write on anything about how much is it worth if someone came and taught you how to fish when you couldn't fish and you were hungry. Because what I'm about to do, and you can show love at $, vet justice fund, vet justice fund. You can show them some love. But I'm going to give you something far more valuable than learning how to fish. What could that be? Well, you know, the scripture says that we perish, we die, for a lack of knowledge applied. You die because of lack of a knowledge applied. So here, I'm gonna kind of help you out today. What I'm going to do is give you some ways of thinking that will free your mind into seeing reality. Because right now, there's no way you can really see reality like you need to, because you're in a construct that teaches you not to rely on your own senses. Now, in order for me to give you this, you got to be receptive and try it out. Please don't see this and say, oh, he was deep. Ugh. Knowledge applied is the power, not just knowledge, not just being deep, but knowledge applied. So here we go. I'm going to give you some lenses. You know, there's a movie that came out. This guy would put on these glasses and he'd see people as aliens, and he sees signs that said something totally different. He'll see a sign that said, eat here. He put the glasses on and it says, obey. Subliminal suggestion. So I'm going to give you some filters upon which you can decipher what is happening today. So here are the filters. Are you ready? Okay. First filter is a 3-part deductive question. First question, you probably heard it before if you're watching me. Probably haven't heard it if you haven't been watching me. What is the business of America? The business of America is business. The business of America is business. Now, what is the science of business? The science of business is warfare. Now, pray tell, what is the art of warfare? The art of warfare is deception. Now, one must ask, now, Anthony, what is the optimal deception? And the optimal deception is to war with someone who doesn't know you're at war. You know, like befriending a person when you're really stabbing them in the back. It's really to attack someone in such a way that they don't know they're at war. Okay? Now, we're going to come back to that, because that's a very important perception to have. Now, the second perception is a concept perception. We're looking at the Freedom Papers, the Independence Papers. And let's back up, because, you know, big on Constitution here. Well, people are big on the Constitution. Your governments are not interested in Constitution at all. You can't even go to court and have a constitutional hearing. Have you tried it? Uh, so I'm going to look at briefly the constitutional rules. And the constitutional rules, or the rules of the Constitution, can be found in the Federalist Papers. And the Federalist Papers have 3 simple rules. First rule, majority rules. Second rule, the majority is supposed to take care of the minority. That's new in your thought. The majority is supposed to take care of the minority. And what's the third rule? Third rule is easy. If the majority does anything to hinder the minority from rising up and becoming the majority, then the minority is not under the majority's rule. You need, see, that's your freedom papers. That can get you free if you knew how to apply it. Okay. So then we're going to look at one other, the Olympic rules. And we're not going to go too deep in it. Well, 2 others, the Olympic rules. We're not going to go too deep in it. Just the simple, if you are the best, you get to stand. If you finish number 1, you get to stand on the number 1 plank. You know, so like there's 3 levels, right? So the first level is all the participants. It's the grassy level. You know, if you did good, that's fine, but you don't get to stand on the platforms. But if you are in the 3rd place, you get to step up and be on the bronze and get your bronze, right? If you were 2nd, you get the silver, and you get to stand and receive the silver. And if you were the gold, well, you get to stand and receive the gold, right? Right. Why? And that's dealing with nations. So if you won, if yours was the best, you get to be number 1. I got to come back to that again because the U.S. don't want to step off the platform, and it's not number 1, 2, or 3 anymore. But we're going to get back to that. There was a 3rd one I was supposed to discuss with you, a 4th one, excuse me, and we're going to get to that one at the end. So I've given you 3 filters to evaluate what is happening. So now we need to fund down what is happening. And I thought it very interesting because in history we studied Hitler like crazy. Hitler was a job. Hitler loved America. Hitler loved the Virginia legislature because they came up with the most racist things you can come up with. You know? So Hitler took his manifest destiny straight from Virginia legislatures. He just changed, who it is. That's all he did. He loved the racist fascism in America, right? But what else did he do? Well, you say he killed, maybe 6 million Jews. We know it was at least 9 million Poles. And we know that Russia lost about, 20 million people in the war? Okay. But what did Hitler then do? See, Hitler took them and put them in camps. And then what he did was you thirsty? You thirsty? Okay, here's some water. You can have all the water you want. But he would put fluoride in the water. Why fluoride? See, fluoride is what's used to kill rats. Fluoride calcifies the pineal gland. It calcifies the frontal lobe. It even calcifies organs within your body. And Hitler didn't tell his captors that. He just gave them the water. But now let's speed up the clock. Now let's compare Hitler. Let's say we're going to do a comparison. Hitler and Biden, for example. Okay. Now Biden also knew America was putting fluoride in the water. So a man put out a FOIA, Freedom of Information request, and the Biden administration fought the request. They said, no, don't tell him. Why? Because the business of America is business, war, and deception, logically. So he didn't want you to know about the fluoride in the water. Why? He doesn't want you smarter, he wants you dumber. Why? So he can push more stuff on you. So Biden and Hitler had the same tactic, fluoride. Now, You don't have very many good things to say about Hitler, but how about creepy Joe Biden? You got anything to say about creepy Joe Biden, who's putting fluoride in your water? Now, we had the Michigan debacle about the water. The water, they putting lead in the water, and everybody said, oh, it's so bad. They got water, it's lead. But there's arsenic in the water, there's fluoride in the water. You may realize how many dentists you go to put fluoride in your cavities, just a few inches from your frontal lobe, just a few inches from your pineal gland. Now, this is what's interesting. He lost the Freedom of Information Act battle, so they had to release the information. Now, what did the disclosure provide? The disclosure said there is no safe limits for ingesting fluoride. No safe limits. Absolutely no safe limits to ingest fluoride. So, therefore, how can it not be said that the Biden administration and the whole line of cronies aren't trying to kill you, aren't trying to dumb you down? And if you needed one more, because I'm going to give you one more because I'm gonna slay them on it. You may have seen some of my presentations at the CDC, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, not disease elimination, but disease control. And you got to understand, when you're talking about if a genetically recessive racist comes to you and give you a word, you can guarantee there's an opposite meaning of that word. I mean, this is English language. English language is equivocal. There's an opposite meaning, and you don't know if he's complimenting you or not. But what we do know is that there's no safe limits for fluoride, and they're putting it everywhere. We should be suing them for attempted murder and or everything else to dumbify you. And enjoy. So right now I'm in Georgia at the Carter Presidential Center, and I want to ask you to muster for the fight. And the fight is against them poisoning the whole goddamn web of life. But the first point is going to be the fluoride. Demand that they remove the fluoride out of our drinking water, or we sue them and take their property. We file liens on every goddamn thing they have. We take the property. And then, just hypothetically speaking, if there's any criminals out there, don't do a crime against your brother, man. Do a crime against that corporation who's trying to kill you. I don't even think it's a crime. I think it's self-defense. And you know why I think it's self-defense? Because when the police come shooting at you, they get off. Why do they get off? They said they were in fear of their lives. When the hell are you going to be in fear of your life of this genetically recessive son of a bitch who's poisoning every single vector of life? When are you going to say, hell no? And now to you veterans, which I am a veteran. You know you took an oath to support the Constitution, not these fucking crackers that's trying to kill you, but the Constitution, against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Now, if you got an obligation to protect your country against these crooks and criminals and poisoners, these terrorists, they've created a mountain of terrorism, a valley of genocide. And you have the obligation, it's your duty to stand up against tyranny. Now, I know a lot of you have been programmed to be cowards. I understand that. We're in America. We can look all over the world. The whole world is protesting right now. You look in America, what the hell are you protesting? They're after your babies. Where's your protest? They got unfair marital laws where the man who worked to build all the shit up, you lose your house, you lose your kids and everything. Why? Because they say sexism is against the law, so why is the woman automatically getting all these things? Why isn't there some accountability for the spending? Why isn't there this, that, and the other thing? You are under assault. You are under assault in every way, yet you don't consider yourself at war. Why is that? And I often tell the little story. I was traveling real quick. I had to go to an Airbnb real quick, and I signed into Airbnb, and she said, well, nobody's been in that room in months, Mr. Hudson, but here. So I went in, and there was roaches. I opened the doors, roaches running everywhere. I'm sorry. The roaches were just crawling. They were just having a party, screwing and doing what they do. And so I stepped back out, I closed the door, and I went and got some roach killer. And so when I came, before I left, I stopped the ones that were near me, and then I left. And then when I came back, as soon as I opened the door, all the roaches just started running and scattering. They were harder to kill. Now, I asked myself, how is it that these roaches just experienced me one time? I didn't kill that particular roach. It was another roach. But they instantly knew that they were at war, that I was at war with them, and they instantly started responding like that and avoiding death. So my question is, how is it that Americans can be so stupid that they don't see that they're at war? How can you be so stupid that you don't understand that you're at war? And how can you be so dumbified that you don't even know how to respond in war times? Well, the answer goes right back to that fluoride, doesn't it? Because if I can give you some stuff to make you pacifist, and give you some more and it calcifies your thinking, and give you some more and it calcifies your very goddamn ideas. I'm a terrorist if I did that. How is Biden not a terrorist? How is all these water companies and water districts not terrorists? Explain that to me. And if you can explain it, I'll give you money. If you can't explain it, $ Vet Justice Fund, send me some. Because I'm commander of the United States Disabled Veterans, and I've never, ever taken a lot of bullshit when I know I got a constitutional right to defend myself, even if I have to pay the price. And there's a price you have to pay today for your freedom, because you're in America. You were told it was the land of the free and home of the brave. But again, it's deception. But I can prove to you, if you go in your wallet, it's the home of the fee. And if you look at the papers that was just filed by the Federal Reserve, they list you as collateral. So therefore, you're a slave. So you're in the home of the free, in the land of the slave. So the question now becomes, what is the proper revolt? How can you redistribute your education, your energy, and your resources to viably optimize your thriving? That's my acronym for revolt. Because if we're going to revolt, there's no better reason to vote than to optimize thriving. And so today I am here just in a brief, I done went way over. I'm supposed to be a 10-minute, it's 18. But I tell you it was worth it. I'm going to break this down into 2 parts. Because there's if you think those 3 filters were powerful, I've got more filters. I've had a long 30-year history in fighting the media, fighting for my people in the media. I have a history of that. So we know how to fight. And like, for example, I'll give you one. You give me one. Okay? Here's one. Whenever you got to fight somebody, research that person and all of their support groups. You'll find dirt on everybody or damn near everybody. And there's one thing that I do. I have what's called a drop a dime session. Like this, I'm going like this. Let's try it now. This is a drop a dime session. We're going to clean, you wanted Trump to drain the swamp. I understand. It needs draining. But the secret is a racist can't clean its house of a racist because it has to occupy that spot. A racist can't throw itself out. So as much as we like Donald Trump, as much as you like his honesty or his candor, let's call it candor. As much as you like his candor, you got to admit Trump can't throw another racist out. Can I prove it? Yes. When Trump ran for office, he was talking about Clinton and their terrible terroristic acts. And he said, put him in jail. He put him in jail. But everybody started chanting, put him in jail, right? Then he became president. Did Clinton go to jail? But now he is in jail, huh? Now he's been arrested. Yeah. He should have sauteed them. He should have sent them to France because France got guillotines. He should have called the CIA to put some shit in their drinks that like the CIA do. Like the CIA did Muhammad Ali and took his speaking voice. I mean, come on. See, the problem is we got thugs, but they're not directed. So I would, I've been trained to be a general because I learned that true warriors are foot soldiers, command structure, field supervisors, all the way up to a general. Why? Because if they lose a war and there's only one that survives, that one can build up a great army all by his goddamn self because he's used to using all the principles that makes a great nation or a great army or a great battle. That's what warriors do. And so I'm asking you to put your faith, your doubts, whatever you've been putting in that goddamn fake dollar, put in me. Put in the group of men and women willing to do what's necessary to ensure our liberty. Now, I got to tell you, we're looking for real soldiers because we got a lot of lawsuits. Look, it's all fraud. And the good thing about it is, they say God has stored up the wealth of the wicked for the righteous. So I asked God, okay, well, how do I pierce the veil and get it? And then he began to show me. And I want to show you. You got to put some, like say like your house has been assaulted. You say, well, honey, I think we need to get a dog because they're just bum rushing us. They're dogging us. They're shooting us. And so you say, yeah, okay, I'm going to go get a dog. So what kind of dog you going to get? You going to get a Chihuahua? You going to get a Pit Bull Mastiff? A Lion Hunter? So back in 2000, I established the Regional Citizen Review Authority to put these racist, mainly crackers and Oreos, in check. And we had our induction ceremony in Akron, Ohio at the State Building. I remember it very clearly. I walked in. It was a great day for me. I was feeling pretty good. And I saw the guard. He said, hey, what's going on today? White dude. So I handed him a flyer. And he said, this thing has teeth. And I was looking at him. I said, that white man is clearly disturbed. He then got on the phone and called the Akron Beacon Journal and a lot of other people. So almost instantly, we had a whole bunch of haters. Bob Sermonero, you may have seen the interview with me and Brother Steve with Bob Sermonero. Where'd you get your weapons? Do you have weapons? Haters. That ain't press, that's pressure. This is press. Relentless to the truth. Willing to do what's necessary, even if I got to sit down for a minute. That's the kind of champions you need. You never had a champion. You thought you had leaders, you had bleeders. They're not leaders, they're misleaders. I remember I went to a church, First African Presbyterian Church in Lithonia. And it was a church where they love deep sayings. Preacher get up and talk deep or invite somebody to talk deep. They thought they really saw something because it was deep. Well, let me give you a clue. Deep doesn't mean a damn thing unless you apply it. When you apply what is powerful, you now are powerful. And so I'm asking you, and closing this section out, asking you to support those who have your best interest. Now, it's kind of funny, we created the Citizen Review Authority in 2000, and You know, and in Akron, they act like it never happened. They're trying to come up with a review board or an auditor. Conflicts of interest. How can you allow the mayor to appoint a member when he appointed the police chief? That's called a conflict of interest. And let me tell you, prejudice is presumed where there's a conflict of interest. You don't even have to have a hearing on the matter. It's so evident because you can't serve two masters. So what happens? The mayor puts a killer as police chief. He goes around and then they start shooting people. One man shot at him 90-something times. 90 times. I think half of them hit. And then the mayor says, oh, we need to have a... No, cracker. You placed that police chief there under your pleasure. So are you pleasured when we're killed? Because we're about to say we're afraid, goddammit. And when the police are afraid, they get to shooting. Be afraid, folks. Be very, very afraid. It's the only way you're going to be able to get your freedom. And then the last thing I'm going to close on, I'm going to try to end this at 30 minutes, 3 sections. The last thing I want to close on is you got to test your friends. You got to test your friends. Tough times are coming. And the same person that don't mind fucking around with you may mind fighting side by side. Because it's coming. The Biden administration has imported Nazis from Ukraine and gave them your Social Security. How many people out here have to work how many years to get Social Security? How many people have to file for Social Security and fight 5-6 years to get it? And he just gave them crackers your money. You ain't mad yet? Understand this. You never had a leader, you had bleeders. You never had a champion, and you don't know how to even support one. Your best champion, you would say, was Muhammad Ali. How many goddamn tickets did you buy to support Muhammad Ali? How many? How many times when you realized the CIA had taken his unbeatable speaking voice, how many times did you send the Ali family a love offering or something? He was a boxing champion, and that's just fucking recreation. How are you going to treat a champion that tells you the truth, teaches you how to gain power, not just teach you how to fish? See, because you're the fish on the hook now. You're the fish on the hook now. And so if you want to get off the hook, do what the righteous do. You got to support the commander in order to get the blessings of the commander. In Bible days, you say, if you help a prophet, you get the prophet's blessing. That's a wonderful thing. God is saying, if you just help my brother, I will bless you like I was blessing him. See? How are you going to treat a champion? Because a time is coming where the champion is going to look through the book and see who was the punk, the pussies, and the providers. And there's going to be a division of that shit. There has to be. Because we're at a state of war. You're just too stupid to know it. And I'm not putting you down calling you stupid. I'm calling you stupid that you ask the question, how did I become this way? And then rewind and they dummied you down. They dummied you down. They don't teach you the Declaration of Independence because they don't want you to apply it. So I'm Anthony, $ Vet Justice Fund. Thank you for listening. Share this as many times as possible. And in the meantime, I'll close with one of the songs I used to love to sing. I love you. Do you love me? We're all a part of the life stream. Stand with me. Agree with me. We're all a part of the life stream. It is our will that every need would be supplied. You are important to me. I need you to survive and thrive. Yeah. You are important to me, and I need you to survive. I'm Anthony. Pass this on, will you? Thanks. Cut. Cut. Thank you. You don't know how to